Hello and welcome to another episode of the Villa Social. I'm your host, Dan Rolinson, joined by some familiar returning faces to the podcast, which we're looking forward to getting stuck into our thoughts on Freiburg and the Europa League Final, which for us lot, recording on Sunday night, but when this episode goes out, it'll be Tuesday, so match day will be tomorrow. Ooh, that makes me feel a little bit nervous. Matt Lynch, we'll start with you, who is sporting the shirt we will wear on Wednesday night, not with the printing in the middle. Did you not get one of the 1,000?
No, I can't proclaim. I was in Birmingham on Friday morning trying to proclaim and get one of those, but I did grab this before Villa hiked the price up on them, and JD did as well, so I've done well on that front. And something I discovered as I was voice noting John Townley for the plan for tonight was the three guests' names next we have Sam, Tighe, and Sam Tighe. And I was like, whoa, this blows my mind.
Is that how you pronounce your surname?
It is, yeah.
Is it really?
Yeah. Everything after the I is useless. Might as well just go.
What, Tighe Bracey, what have you been saying all these years? Tig?
I've never said it out loud, but I can imagine saying tiger but sneezing halfway through.
You sound like every teacher I ever had on the first day of every year of school. Tiger, Tiggy, Tigger, Tig. And then they just give up. Yeah.
Good. So we've got Sam from True Adventures, is the social profile that I know him from, and part of the 1897 group, Tighe Bracey, and then Sam Tighe, who I know from ESPN, Who Scored, all sorts of different bits and pieces. You've been on the podcast before, but it's been a while, hasn't it?
It's been a while, yeah. It took me a long time to recover from the last episode. No, goodness me.
That was then.
We've been on since then, but it has been a while. Kamara was fit when I last spoke to you.
Okay. All right. It's been at least a few months then. For those that are watching, we've got a strange layout. I've tried to work it around. I'm big at the moment because I'm the host, but we will rotate around the screen as we go through. So I'm going to throw Tighe Bracey into the big square.
See, for me, Sam's the big one.
Oh, really? How are you feeling about the Europa League Final?
Do you know what? I wasn't fazed at all. Second leg of the Forest game, I wasn't fazed. I was pumped. The anger from the Spurs game quickly turned to a very, very passionate Tighe Bracey. I was hyped, and I still am hyped. And one thing I'm hyped about more than anything is the legacy it will leave on set players. That's what I'm nervous about, because I want to sit there and talk to my kids and my grandkids about a little Scottish meatball who was in the Championship, who rode to European glory. I really want to have that conversation with my kids. So yeah, I'm not letting it. I haven't let it consume my brain as of yet. But when it does, it will completely consume me. But I've been enjoying some Sunday night football. Watching the Newcastle West Ham game. So I've been keeping myself distracted. So at the minute, I'm okay.
By Tuesday, though, when this goes out, how are you going to be feeling then?
It will be squeaky bum time on Tuesday. Yeah, it's going to be. But I don't have a sense. I don't think it's going to be an easy fixture. Freiburg won on the weekend as well, didn't they? I think they won. I won't say yesterday because we're recording on a Sunday. But yeah, I think they won 3 or 4-0 yesterday. So was it 4-1? Yeah, so they're going to be bang up for it. But I'm not scared. I'm excited. I'm embracing the opportunity. Uncharted territory, as I've put it on Twitter, that this is a first for me and a first for, well, it's a first for all of us for 4 seasons in a row of European football, isn't it? So it's new to all of us, but a European final isn't something that I've experienced in my lifetime, and there'll be many who, haven't too. So I'm excited to go on this journey with everybody.
I'm going to put myself back in the big square because I feel like this is going to give me a headache I could do without. So apologies to everyone who it looks like I'm very arrogant and bigger than everybody else. It's not that at all. I'm just lazy. How are we going to do this? We've got 2 Sams. One of them's called Tighe, so I can't refer to him as Tighe either. Sam, the other Sam, can I refer to you by your surname? Is that weird?
It's all right. Yeah, you could. What, Leonard? You would call me Leonard. Yeah,
can I call you Len? Can I call you Lenny? I'm going to call you Lenny for the rest of this. Hopefully that's okay.
That's fine. That is fine.
Lenny, you are going to Istanbul.
Yeah.
Are you packed? Are you ready? How are you feeling? Will you be there by the time this comes out?
Yeah, so I'm getting a 5:30 a.m. train tomorrow from Norwich, Ely, Cambridge, Stansted, and off to Istanbul. So I'm really glad about the travelling. That's going to be a distraction. And then being in Istanbul, that's going to be a lovely distraction. So I find it a bit strange that there's an actual football match. It seems a long way away from an actual football match at the moment. It's about getting ready. I've been packing, getting all my shirts ready. I mean, usually I'm like chuck everything in the bag and go. Today I've been like placing it on the bed and like, and my wife is like, "You are sad. You're a sad man." Like, she's basically been living with a 10-year-old boy, I think, for the past 12 days. I've been skipping around the house, and I just can't wait. I'm so excited, and I'm trying not to. All the stuff that Tighe was talking about the players and their legacy and Emery and all of that. That is the kind of thing that gets in my head as well. And I start to think about bigger things, and I start to think about, oh my goodness, a lot of things. I start to think about a lot of things, which is what I mean is that I find it strange that there's actually going to be a football match. It's almost like there's just this giant behemoth on the horizon, and like you said, it's uncharted territory, so it's difficult to fathom a little bit at the moment. Like, what's it going to be like? I've got no idea. And but it's going to be a crazy week.
Even since the last trophy, never mind the European element, was obviously 30 years ago. Me and Matt Lynch weren't around for that. Well, I was, but I was only a couple months old. The other three, I don't know your ages. Would you remember that?
Yeah, I remember. 94 was my first introduction to Villa, so pretty much the Tranmere game was pretty much my first experience of a proper Villa game, and and I'm still here now thanks to that game. It was such an insane experience, and then I was about 11 for 96, so I was like absolute prime sticker albums, shirts, full kit. I was there, so I really got to experience that properly, and that was really special. And I thought at that age, wow, look at this, two trophies,
wins stuff all the time.
2 years. Yeah, I've chosen the right team. This is just going to be plain sailing from now on. And little did I know that. I mean, look at me now, this haggard man, and nothing else to show for it. 30 years, but anyway, it's all coming good now, isn't it?
Yeah, I hope so. Sam, Tighe, do you have memories of 94, 96?
I was 6 in 96, mate. So, I mean, that's the scratching at the very edges of the memory. Okay. I remember my dad telling me that we'd won, and he got a mug, with the scorers, at 3-0 with the scorers. And so that was in the house. So I was like sort of consistently reminded of that. That's kind of like all the knowledge I had of the game up until the point, years later where I might have watched the highlights or something. But it was a different world back then, wasn't it, with regard to football highlights? It's not like you could just go on YouTube. When I was 9, it didn't exist. So I've got very little in the tank here. I've got the Peace Cup, the giant cup that John Terry lifted, whatever we won in Australia, where Archie Gray passed away from that John McGinn tackle and then resurrected 2 weeks later. That there's kind of all I've really got, I'm afraid. So hopefully you can add a proper one and I can experience it. I'm very excited. Obviously, I'm sure you guys are all the same. Like, people have been asking you all week, right? Like, how you feeling? Are you excited? Like, you must have got that from 10, 15, 20 people.
Yeah.
And the truth is, I've done the same thing, which is I've almost completely blocked it out.
You going, by the way?
Yes, I am. Yeah. So I've actually been looking forward to a holiday. That's how I've been sort of positioning it in my mind. I mean, I can't wait to go and drink 100 beers with the boys. It just so happens there's a football game on Wednesday night. But that's kind of how I'm like processing it at the moment. And, 2 weeks ago on the Thursday, the nerves didn't hit me until the lineups came out, because I'd managed to successfully pretend the game wasn't happening until Lindelof was starting in midfield. And I was like, can't escape this anymore. This is clearly happening. So it worked last time. I barely had any time to get nervous.
Same again, please. Yeah. Tighe, do you have memories of 94, 96? I don't know.
I do not. I was 4 in 94. Okay. I have zero memories of it because I grew up in a household. My brother was an Arsenal fan because he lived in Surrey until he was 10, and my old man's a nose. So I grew up in my mum was Villa, but she didn't really push Villa onto me. My brother actually was the one who pushed Villa onto me, because he, when he was in sixth form, he used to have a season ticket at Villa. He was just a lover of football in general. He supported Arsenal, but he always had a soft spot for Villa. And all of his sixth form mates, they all had season tickets at Villa. So he got a season ticket as well. He just, anything football, he was happy to be involved in. So he was my introduction to Villa, essentially, even though he was an Arsenal fan. But no, 94, too young. I was 4. I was barely out of nappies.
You're not going, are you? I don't think.
Yeah, so I got a ticket through the ballot, but it's not common knowledge, but I've just become a dad again.
Yeah.
So obviously you know Rollo, but I haven't really spoke about it online at all, to be fair. So I had to make a very difficult decision of staying married. To be fair,
Recently married as well, really. It's not been that long, has it?
Yeah. Well, that's coming up to a year. But no, she wanted me to go, but I made the decision that as much as a European final is important, you know, I have a baby that doesn't sleep more than 2 hours at once, and, you know, mum's important too. So somehow, I don't know how it's happened, I'm watching the final at Dan Bardell's house. I don't know how it's happened.
Again.
No, but Dan's also got a fairly newborn baby, which means I'm going to have to, like, do a knee slide, but with no noise coming out my mouth, like...
She'll be in bed by then, surely. Although not in the routines yet, are they?
Yeah, but you know me outside of for a camera, Rollo, so you can turn me down on audio, but in real life, you know what my decibels are like. So I'm still a bit like, should I be going round Bardell's house for a Europa final? Probably not. Hope you don't watch this, Dan.
He won't be watching this. He never does. Matt Lynch, I've not spoke to you at all, really, about it all. I don't think you're going, though, because I think you might have said.
Yeah, no, I'm unfortunately not. I'm actually in Nottingham in a strange turn of events that night.
Okay.
Don't know how, but
do you think they were going to make the final?
Perhaps I did. Yeah, I mean, considering I've got a hotel in Nottingham that night, perhaps that's the case. I don't know, but no. So I'll be trying to find a few Nottingham Lions. Is the plan? Watch in a pub that's shown, I believe, in Nottingham, ironically next to the City Grand. So yeah, really strange sort of turn of events in that sense. But the last time I was in Nottingham for a final, I was actually working when we lost to Fulham in the playoff final. It's I feel like there's some closure needed there, to be honest with you.
I was going to say, when we're discussing like the last trophy win, the biggest thing we've seen, and it is a trophy technically, although it isn't technically, but it is the playoff final trophy that we won to get promoted. That was the biggest game of the consequences of what it meant. Then you do what we've done since and get into Europe, and there's PSG and there's Forest a few weeks ago, and like we keep going up in these big game moments. And this is now obviously the biggest one of our lives and of a generation of people that are older than us as well. So yeah, it's a massive thing. We'll talk more about the final and how we feel about different bits and pieces as we go. Just something completely different. I thought we may be recording this before Liverpool, because we'll beat Burnley, obviously, and like Liverpool won't mean anything, so we can get this in the bag early and get on with our lives. That didn't happen, and Liverpool became important, and we had to wait for that game to finish. And boy, am I glad that we did wait, because now we know that we've qualified for the Champions League as well before Wednesday night. We don't care about Bournemouth playing tonight as this comes out. Don't care what the score is. And we're playing on Wednesday just for the trophy. That weight of Champions League qualification has gone away. Lenny, buzzing? Sorry, Lenny. Daft on it, but I'm going to keep doing it.
Stick with it. I enjoyed Friday almost as much as the Forest game. I don't know why. I think it was it was so fun, and I just thought it was like if you that second half, if you wanted to kind of say, oh, what a Villa like under Unai Emery, I thought it was like a best of. You know, like Watkins and Rodgers and McGinn.
Sam, it's always nice battering Liverpool, mate. It's always a pleasure.
It's nice. It is nice. Yeah, and we did some fireworks for them as well. But it was just beautiful. I was just loving it, you know. And that when that McGinn goal went in, I was back at the Forest game again. It just topped up my levels. They maybe just dropped a little, and I was back up to the top. And it was just so lovely, you know, just to have that clean feeling, like you said, to go into this game and to have qualified for the Champions League. And I was at the pub, and I've stayed for like another couple of drinks, because I was just basking in it a little bit, because I just thought, you know what, this is an absolutely outrageous achievement. It's ridiculous that Unai Emery has done this, and I was a bit overwhelmed by it, really, because I just thought, he's done it again. How does he keep doing this, you know? And it's just remarkable. And considering the team that he's had this year, I mean, frankly, it's not to the standard of the other teams that he's had. And yet,
agreed.
He's pulled it out the bag, and he continues, to be perfectly honest, to embarrass richer clubs with what he's doing. And long may it continue. Just magnificent. And John McGinn, God, my heart is bursting for John McGinn, really. And on Wednesday, it might just explode, I think.
Yeah, we'll come back to McGinn in a bit. I've got a little segment on him. What we've done, if the season was kind of over now and it was like, Man City last day, it doesn't matter. Like, yeah, all of the league stuff is brilliant. The fact that there's still one more to go and that could be make it an historic season is humongous. Sam, we spoke about we need the context of Liverpool before we go and do this recording, and you messaged me after the result saying, well, we got the context, we know what it means now. It's so nice, isn't it, to have that part of the equation already solved.
Yeah, it makes it all a lot easier for us, I think, the players, but also just the fans to kind of process what's happening. And yeah, I was watching that game, I was watching it on my sofa, and I did a weird double celebration for the fourth goal. The first celebration was like, what a goal, wow. And then there was like a 2-second pause, and then I did like another more sort of pained, strained celebration, which was because it dawned on me that it was done.
Yeah.
And it was like it's like a season-long relief noise of oh my, it's actually over, like we've done it. And now we can actually just kind of like mentally move on to midweek, and there's nothing hanging over it. It was like a two-parter. It was really weird. My wife mentioned, she was in the other room, she mentioned that the celebration was unlike anything she'd ever heard, in a very strange way, because it was two very different noises for the same goal. But it was the goal, and then it was like the achievement, and it was like, right, done. Like, it's a huge relief. And what a performance as well. Like, what a way to send everybody off. Like, the performance, no one got injured badly, at least. I mean, Lindelof and Buendia, but everybody says that they're both going to be fine. So no severe injuries, despite the fact that Watkins, it looked like he died in the first half. I think 2 minutes there where I was like, I'm right there with you, buddy. I'm right there with you. And then he was fine. Got on and sprinted past Canate. It was really strange. But what do you want from that? Good energy, good send-off, 3 points, seal the Champions League, no injuries. You got it all. It's perfect.
Did any of you ever feel at one point that Champions League in the top 5 might not happen? Did any of you start to doubt that, we do look like we're faltering a lot here and we could drop out to 6th, or did you all hold faith?
If you don't read Twitter is not the single source of truth. You would believe that we're in a relegation battle, not fighting for 5th place. I had no doubt, but I wanted it to be in our hands, not at the result of other clubs not performing. I wanted it to be something that was where we weren't relying on other clubs. I think it was really important that we got it over the line ourselves, and it wasn't other teams falling apart that got us over the line. So it's easy to say, if we didn't qualify naturally, we could have got it through 6th place if we won the Europa. But I feel like that was just too much pressure to even think about that as a thought process of, because that just adds to the pressure. But for me, understanding the importance of Champions League from the financial perspective was the only side that worried me, really. The difference in revenue versus Europa League is astronomical, but it's not astronomical, but it's astronomical in Villa's world. It's a big old heap of money that I don't want to say we haven't got a lot of, because we're obviously a very cash rich club and we've got rich owners, but we're in a position where our business has to be really sensible going forward. We can't have these level of signings of where we're signing people and they sit on the bench and then leave. It's something that, and I understand not every signing works out. It's not, I don't know a single football club who every single signing has worked out and they've stayed at that club forever. That's not realistic, but I think it's really important that we get everything right this summer, and the Champions League really gives us a big step into that. I think what happens in the next 5 years is very important this summer. I really do.
It's funny though, isn't it? Because last game of last season, when Thomas Bramwell does what he does, and I've not heard his name since, to be honest. I don't know, is he still refereeing?
I'll be singing his name in Istanbul, mate.
No,
he's
no
the one that's brought us here.
But that's perfect. The thing, right? Like back then, that was a disaster, and we went on to have a poor window because of the lack of finances and stuff. And we made some poor decisions, absolutely. But those steps have led us to where we are now, right? We've managed to get to top 5 with that squad.
Happens for a reason.
We've got to the final with that squad. We're one game away from having top 5 and a trophy in the same season, when last May was a disaster. So things
just to add to that, Rollo, sorry to interrupt you. Since FFPs have been in place, there's only 3 teams who have qualified for Europe and won a European trophy in the same season, and that's Man City, Chelsea and Liverpool.
Yeah.
And it could potentially happen to Arsenal this season. If it doesn't, it will eventually. But to be in that list, I think, even though that's only since FFP came in, I feel like that is quite an accomplishment.
Yeah, well, many clubs will do that anyway.
Yeah. We see the trend, don't we? And I'll use Newcastle as an example. I don't want to use them as an example because I like Newcastle, but of how difficult it is to compete in the Champions League and the Premier League at the same time. It's not, to have a successful European campaign and try and compete to do it again for the following season. And spoke about enough. Like, we haven't got these gargantuan sized squads and that level of depth of where you could rotate the 11 and be happy. I mean, we rotated 7 against Spurs, and I'll be honest, that was like close to like meltdown level. The world nearly erupted, and I never want to experience that again. So I think depth is something that's massively important for us this window. I really do.
Yeah, it is, because you can't keep doing that. I don't think consistently getting away with it is probably the wrong phrase, but Unai Emery is the difference, is the point I was going to make. He can perform miracles. Like, what we're doing shouldn't happen, and I don't think there's many managers in world football that can do the job that he's done. Unai's not even nominated for Manager of the Year.
I must admit, I saw that list and I did sort of go through the names. I thought, okay, yeah, fair enough, I see it. And then I saw Carrick on there. I thought, it's a wild swing, isn't it, to put him in there? I think that context is everything, isn't it, this season? We've blown hot and cold, I think it's fair to say, probably more than we've seen. But I think we've dealt with more setbacks than we have in the previous campaign under Emery in the same breath as that.
Yeah,
so
I think that's fair.
By virtue of that, you'd think that he would be a shoo-in for that, because by the basis of what we've had to deal with. I mean,
I think this is his biggest achievement so far.
Without a doubt, the pack of cards we were handed at the end of January, was it when Tielemans went off injured? Was he in the same match as Kamara's injury against Spurs? I think it was, wasn't it? Tielemans was Newcastle a few weeks after. Yeah. So there was those blows, and then obviously Onana's fitness as a general rule of thumb isn't great. And you look at the other sort of hands that have been dealt in the last 12 months, and it's remarkable. And I think the only reason why I had that slow start at the start of the season is because of how detrimental of a summer you could argue it was. I mean, the fact we saw Ramsey leave because of it, and the players did seem quite sort of touched by that in a negative way, and the fact that we had the result in the final game of the season as we did, it was always going to be a tough start. I mean, ironically, some of the times I've been on this season was Sunderland 1-1. There was a meltdown then happening. I've been on a couple of times when obviously we've won away from home, but I think that the last time I was on with you for an away game was the game before we got back on the winning horse. I can't remember who that was against, possibly, but it would have been
West Ham, was it?
Yes,
we snapped a streak with a 2-0 home win against West Ham, didn't we?
Yeah,
so it would have been the game before that. Yeah,
before all that. Yeah. So, but yeah, the contextualise everything, and you go, we're blown hot and cold this season, and Emery's handled that really well. Considering, I think as a fan base, actually, we've matured in that sense as well, because there'd be previous years where the world and his wife would be ready for the bed sheets at some points this season, in terms of the way results were going, genuinely.
Yeah, but I think we can tell you're not on Twitter anymore.
Yeah, no, I think it's a breath of fresh air, I'll tell you. But yeah, context is everything, absolutely, and it's a crying shame he's not on the list. But hey, so be it.
Yeah, on the manager of the month thing, look, I was pretty appalled to see Carrick on there because he managed about 13 games, albeit with a positive impact. To be honest, my hot take on the manager of the year thing was that I think Pep Guardiola might not deserve to be on there, to be honest with you.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
he doesn't win the league.
Sorry, I know he's in the title race, but like, this is going to go down as one of Pep's worst seasons ever. Like, they're on 77 points with two
trophies, aren't they?
This is not. Yeah, of course, it's the two trophies out, the cup trophies, but Premier League Manager of the Year.
True, yeah.
Look at the Premier League best managers. Look what Emery has achieved, despite the fact that his team just gets worse every year. You know, I fully agree with that point that you're just shedding talent and getting worse, and it's very difficult to keep your heads above water. And he's managed it. I'm just not sure Pep will look back at this season and think it was anywhere near his best. And if they don't win the title, I do struggle with the idea of Pep or Carrick having had a better season relative to resources and achievement than someone like Emery. For what it's worth, the fact that Keith Andrews has kept Brentford up, and the fact that Regis Lebris has done what he's done with Sunderland mean that actually I think maybe those two guys are even stronger candidates than Emery. This is not just like a full Villa-pilled opinion. Yeah. I just think that a lot of the time people seriously miss the point with this sort of thing, which is measure your manager relative to their resources and their achievements. And from that perspective, what Emery has achieved this year is like a minor miracle.
I mean, back to Pep. I mean, like, it's about what a manager's been able to do, but it's like, Pep is like, oh, how did he think of this genius idea of signing Antoine Semenyo and signing Mark Gay? Like, oh, what a smart move! Like,
unknown gems.
And Carrick, I think actually, am I correct in thinking that it's actually a public vote? So I think it might be that they're after traffic, maybe by putting Man United in there. It might just be a basic just numbers thing.
Debate. Well, I'm not defending Carrick here. What he's done is astronomical for Man United, but no one else cares. No one else cares.
He's doing what they should be doing.
For a Man United manager, but nobody else cares.
I don't think it is astronomical. Man United weren't even that bad because Amrin only got sacked for mouthing off. They were actually having a pretty decent season. I think they were in 6th when he took over. They were having a pretty decent season. He's had no European football, no cup football. He's had only the league to focus on.
Yeah, they should have finished in the top 4. Yeah.
It's like, he's magically got these players like Casemiro. Like, Casemiro is one of the best midfielders in Europe. He's got Bruno Fernandes, one of the best midfielders in Europe. And he's magically got a £70 million striker scoring. Like, compared to what, like, Emery's like, it's absolutely, frankly, ridiculous.
If you brought it down to one thing, just look at the net spend. I know net spend's been a buzzword for donkeys, but look at it on paper for this year. What is it?
Only so that's 20. We're the lowest in the league.
It was 27 million net spend this season
on a player who went on loan to Palace. We didn't use the money we spent. We didn't use the player. The wages we spent on Elliott, we've not used them. Sancho, it's mad, isn't it? Like, we've pretty much done what we've done with the last year's squad, minus a couple. It's absolutely remarkable. Enough of Man United, anyway. Let's talk about players and John McGinn first of all. In 24 hours ish from when people are listening to this, he could be arms aloft with a trophy, which is just, I can't quite compute what that looks like, despite the playoff final. I've seen it before. I just want it so badly for him. Like he like, you can say like, oh, this player deserves it. John McGinn deserves to go and lift silverware. The journey that he's been on and the levels that he's raised himself. He's such a good footballer and such a good guy, a great captain. Go and lift that silverware, John McGinn, and everyone will be absolutely buzzing. They'll tears and all sorts, I'm sure.
It's hard to fathom, isn't it, the journey that he's been on. I think even in the last probably 18 months, there's been moments when, as a fan base, we've potentially questioned what his long-term future is in that team. But it's pretty clear in this last year, as I said, with the injuries that have savaged the team, let alone the lack of income, and how much of a key piece of the puzzle he is. I think 18 to 24 months ago, if you'd have said, McGinn shouldn't be starting, I don't think you'd have probably been far wrong at times, to be honest with you. But Emery's taken his game to another level. But I think that it's helped that collectively the players around him have all answered to him as the captain and his marching call for sort of that level above, because it's clear that he sets the standards. And if he's not on the pitch, the standards aren't the same. That goes to show how much of a level he's got. And with that chance against Liverpool, you touched on that, but I knew that was going to go in the back of the net before he'd even sort of wheeled up to curl it into the top corner. You just knew that was going in the net. It was inevitable. The same with his 2 goals against Forest. You knew both goals were going in. And that goes to show the level that he's at the moment, because the one criticism I could probably labour at him in the last few years prior to that, he's probably not been scoring the numbers that he perhaps deserves for his play and what he does in that team. And I think Emery probably called him out for the same as well. So to see that dimension of him is incredible. I think he already will go down as a modern day legend for us, but he'll take it and certify that in concrete and cast iron, gold, whatever it might be at that point, if he does lift the trophy as well. But you get where I'm going with that. He is a legend already, but he'll
a legend in concrete,
that.
cast iron, gold.
There's nothing has ever been more set than that in the history of materials.
But you get where I'm going with that, is that he is a legend now. But
I think he's a legend already.
Silverware, it's a different level of status within the football club, absolutely.
At the start of the season, my love for John McGinn was very high. And then I fully credit him with dragging us out of that hole that we were in at the start of the season. I was at the Fulham game. That was my first game of the season. And what Villa was struggling with was players taking responsibility. I remember that Sunderland game. I mean, Cash did hit one, but it was like, oh, over to you. Do you want to do something? And I remember John McGinn gave an interview. I think it was after the Bologna game, the first Bologna game. And he basically said, we've not been good enough. We take the criticism. When we were good, everyone said we were great. We've been rubbish. We take the criticism. I take the criticism, and we'll sort it out. And in that Fulham game and in that Bologna game, he just said, okay, well, I'll do it then. You follow me and I'll do it. And he kicked us off on that run that we went on. And it just through sheer force of will and, like you said, raising standards, but also just taking responsibility, taking the shots. If no one wants to shoot, fine. I'm the captain. I will shoot. And he's continued to do that all the way through the season. And obviously Kamara was a big miss, and obviously Tielemans was a big miss. But I think that Tottenham game showed us, didn't it, the miss that John McGinn is when John McGinn's not on the pitch. I mean, even when Emery takes him off in games that we've won, I think, well, Sunderland, I mean, the Sunderland game, you know, I think, oh God, do you have to take him off? Is this really necessary? You know, he's so important. And also as a man, I mean, what do you want as a captain of your club? You know, you see other teams and you see their captains and their little weasel kind of, you know, and you think, God, that's your captain. That's the man that's leading you out of the tunnel. And that's the man that speaks for your team and leads you know what I'm talking about, these teams. And it
could be a few, to be fair.
And I would, you know, imagine going out for a pint with John McGinn, hanging out with John. What a guy. He's just a
Wednesday night. If we win.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, so I just love him. And also, he's a bloody good footballer. He's a bloody good footballer. My daughter started playing football on a Saturday, and the only coaching advice I could give her was stick your ass out, stick your bum out, do it like John McGinn, you know, because you can't get the ball off him. You know, I say he's like a dog. You know, you ever tried to get the ball off a dog, you know, and you can dangle the dog up, and the dog's still dangling. That's what he's like. And even from the Lille away game, when he came on after his injury, he was there straight away. He wasn't even fit. He was there sweating himself into a fury, and I just love him. And if you go through the past few years, the playoff final, who scored the goal? John McGinn. The PSG game when all was lost, who stuck his bum out and drove through midfield and popped it in the top corner? John McGinn. And this running, John McGinn has dragged us over the line. And in Europe this year, I mean, what is our top European goal scorer now? The man is frankly ridiculous. And when that fourth goal went in, on Friday, I was just like, I love you, John McGinn. I just love you, man. It's just amazing.
In the summer when he was linked to Everton, and their fans were talking about like, oh, would he play for us?
That was in January. That
was last summer as well. Yeah,
definitely summer as well. Yeah, I definitely remember stuff in the summer. Like, he's a good player. Like, would he start for us? He's like, yeah, he'd be the best player at your club straight away. Come on.
Yeah, I think Lenny there touched on it. It's intensity with John McGinn. Look, there's players in this team that can provide the right things in the right times in the different areas of the pitch. And you can maybe substitute this for that. You can maybe get Douglas Luiz to look after the ball a bit. You know, Onana can do some of what Kamara does off the ball, but no one brings the same level of intensity, and no one is able to get others to feed off them in the same way. And just the level of intensity that McGinn has brought to the team since his return, and then obviously the drop off when he's not there, as you mentioned, like the Tottenham game. You know, you really are looking at that and thinking, if McGinn was on that pitch, none of them would be doing this. So that's what's really impressed me. And he is one game away from becoming my all-time favourite Villa player. Not to say the stakes are high. And I think there's more at play that night. Like, you know, if you actually, you know, for him, winning the trophy might be more important. But secondly, there's and I won't be alone there. Like, you guys might feel similarly once you've thought about it. There'll be thousands of people out there that probably feel the same. He's one game away from being their all-time favourite Villa player.
Yeah, that's quite a statement, isn't it? I've not really thought about it like that before, and I don't know who. It's probably a podcast, to be fair. Our favourite Villa players, not just personally. I'd go back to people like Ashley Young, I suppose. But
it might have been Olaf Melberg,
yeah.
I think, up until this point, or something in that area. But things are changing. Like, these last 3 years have just been very, very different.
Yeah.
Like, if I said to you guys individually, and I'll go to you individually, and I said, if you could say one player who had a true Villa love story, who let's exclude John McGinn from that conversation and talk about a true Villa love story. Say we win on Wednesday. Who can you say? Who would you define as a true Villa love story?
Anyone want to go first? Do we all awkwardly look at each other?
That's what I mean. People have to really think about it and go and really go back. You know, echoing what I said about the from championship to European trophies. It's just something that doesn't happen in football very often. And I feel very grateful that it's something that can potentially happen to the football club that I support, because I'm all for a good football love story. I love. And John McGinn, in terms of age, you know, is technically past his prime, but he's playing the best football of his life and competing at the highest level. Yeah, and it's just, you know, age is just a number. It really is. 31 years old, and we've seen nothing like it. We really haven't seen this version of this is prime John McGinn at 31 years of age. And I think, you know, his knees probably do click a bit after a game. You know, probably has to get an ice pack or 10 on. But
he's only 31.
Yeah, but if you Sam, I don't know about your joints, mate, but if you played football from like the age of whatever age he was playing at academy level, mate, your knees click
I know.
without a shadow of a doubt. But it's just nice he will be the definition of a Villa love story. And speaking of statues, I know we spoke about the statues, echoing what Lynchy said, but I've seen some bloody awesome. Have you seen the turkey statue that someone had made?
Stuff.
Of him in it? Honestly, man, it's going to have to be goggles, isn't it? If John McGinn were to get a statue, it has to be goggles. It would have to be goggles. I know that it feels weird because I know everyone in passing says, "Oh, yeah, give him the statue," but I genuinely think it's a genuine shout of a statue. I really do.
I would think about how I would feel when any of these players leave. And the thought of John McGinn leaving Villa now, I think the outpouring of emotion would be immense when he finally, hopefully, retires at Villa. I don't know. He'll probably want to go back to Celtic for a year, maybe. But when John McGinn leaves, God, I mean, I'll just be in bits. I think when John McGinn leaves, I think we've got 2 years, Sam. I think we've got 2 years max. I think 2 years is. Which makes him really sad.
The way he's playing, though, shows no sign of slowing down. If he's going to be even better again next year,
is his brother any good?
May 2026 problems, guys.
Do we just need Anne McGinn somewhere?
Yeah, it doesn't matter if they're related. Just get them all off the street and they can audition. Like, it's fine.
Just to go back to the Villa love story thing, I think you started, Tighe, by saying like there's almost like this bigger thing of the legacies that some of these players are kind of playing for on Wednesday as well. Whether that'll be in their mind or not, I doubt it. They want to win the game and win the trophy, but there's a core group of those players now that have been there for a number of years, and like a Matty Cash or an Ezri Konsa might not be like, yeah, they've got this big story, but they've been here for 5 or 6 seasons now. Martinez the same. Mings would probably be one that's closer to McGinn, because obviously Championship as well, but had a rocky spell and obviously not in the team and not as important as McGinn is. But that group of players have been with us through Smith, Gerrard and now Emery, and raised their game into the Champions League again.
100%.
Could win a trophy. Maybe this will be their last season. You never know with football. And Martinez's story from last season, this time last year, crying off the pitch because he thinks he's leaving, and 12 months later could be lifting a trophy. His Villa career got him to win a World Cup. Like, Villa is entrenched in those players' lives as well. And when they do retire, Villa will be a big part of their Wikipedia page or whatever, because they spent so long here, and they can also go and top that off now with actual glory, not just a top 4 finish, proper history, proper silverware.
First of all, you forgot Leon Bailey.
Oh no.
He's been there through Gerrard, through Smith. Douglas Luiz has been there a long time through with a bit of a reroute. Also a rocky spell. Buendia. Yeah, I mean, there is actually a it's a shocking amount of players, because Luca Dean is also start of Gerrard. Like, it's the core is the core, and we've alluded to it over the last couple of years. Whenever we talk about the business, is that there's a group of players there that Dean Smith accumulated, roughly, that has been very, very good to Villa and has mitigated a lot of the problems that Villa have actually faced when it comes to buying badly in some cases, but also having to sell. Just having like those 5 or 6 players as a core to rely on, like, you know, Konsa and Martinez and Cash. They're just all, and McGinn, they're just always there. It's been, and Watkins. We didn't mention Watkins. He's absolutely huge. So yeah, I think almost all of us will be desperate to win this trophy for ourselves and to celebrate it, but also desperate for that group of players to go ahead and play one more game and get it done, because it will mean everything to them, or it should. It should.
Will you cry, Sam?
Highly likely, yes. But I'll be sat next to Frankie Maguire in the stadium, who will cry. So when people cry around me, I will also. So even if I was on the fence, I'm screwed. You?
100%. I cried at the only times I've cried watching Villa was player final at Wembley. But I was crying when they gave the added minutes, and I think it was a nervous cry. Yeah, I think it was 7 or 8, but I remember it was the longest 7 minutes of my life being in that stadium. And I cried when McGinn scored the 3rd goal against Forest, but it wasn't like a hysterical cry like the playoff. Like, my eyes were full of water because of you know, the realisation of, okay, I think we've got this. But yeah, I think I'll cry I'll be with Dan, and you know, I'm crying in front of Dan.
You two and the newborns all crying?
Well, yeah, everyone might be crying, aren't they? So you might as well join in. You know, what's funny, and we're absolutely not even considering it. All the talk that we've done for 40 odd minutes or so, me, Matt, and John did a preview yesterday as people are listening to this. We're not talking about it going wrong. Like, obviously it can. This is not us all just going, oh, we're going to win and it's going to be easy. Forget about the actual game. We're talking about what if we win, because I'm not spending any time talking about what if we lose, because it's not worth thinking about. There'll be a presser on Tuesday, I think. So we don't know anything from that yet. Lindelof is obviously the biggest talking point, and it's him or Onana. That is, I think, where we're going to go here. Is there any other positions around the 11 where you'd have anything? It's the 11 that played against, shake of the heads. The 11 that played against Liverpool is the 11 that plays Wednesday, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, nodding heads now.
No offense to the other lads, but like, so actually I got a text from someone last week after the Burnley game, I think, because a couple of players got rested, right? Like Buendia stepped out of the 11 for the Burnley game, came on, obviously had tried to have an impact, and someone texted me who's not a Villa fan and was like, will Buendia start the final? And I was like, obviously yes. And they were like, oh right, okay. I was like, what are the choices there?
Yeah.
Not being funny, but like, what choice is there?
And 6 months ago that would have been like, oh, Buendia in the final, like, geez, that's because there aren't other options, and he's been that good as well.
The 11 players that are going to start, highly likely. Onana, Lindelof is a separate question, but the other 10 feel set in stone, deservedly so, based on their performance against Nottingham Forest and against Liverpool. But also, what else are you going to do? Like, seriously, we've been talking about a lack of depth throughout this sort of 45 minutes, and it is a case of there are about 14 usable players in Aston Villa squad. 2 of them are Camara and Onana. So that leaves you with like 12 others. It kind of picks itself, doesn't it?
Just a word from everyone before we go into it. If Onana is fit, Lenny, does he start or not?
Not for me personally. Nothing against Onana, but I think I wish that Emery had thought of the Lindelof thing 3 months ago, because I think he's not as obviously he's no Boubacar Kamara, but him being in there, it just for me instantly felt like Emery's Villa again. I think with Onana, I do like Onana, but I'm always like, oh, he's not quite doing what I want him to do. And also, where is he kind of playing? Do I want him to go forward? Do I want him to sit? Obviously, his physicality is excellent, and I like that. And the best I've seen him play actually was the first half against Arsenal. I thought he was, Arsenal away. I thought
he was going to win the first leg Forest as well.
He was brilliant, but there's just something about Lindelof in there and him dropping into the back 3, just like Kamara used to do. It just feels in a similar way to, I just think Villa only look like Villa when Ollie Watkins plays. There's just something about the way he plays within Emery's system, and obviously Emery's system above everything. I think Lindelof serves the system so well. It allows Cash to get forward. It allows Digne to get forward. It allows Tielemans. It just makes everything just makes the machine work. And Villa, to me, are all about the machine. And so I think Lindelof is just, it's kind of fallen out of the sky for me, Lindelof. Just like, oh, great, that's perfect. So... And then we can bring Onana on. He has physicality. He's great at set pieces. He's got so much to offer. But I would definitely go for Lindelof.
That was a long one word.
Did you say one word? You got the wrong guy.
That's right. Matt, would you start Onana if he's fit? One word?
No.
No. Tighe?
No.
Sam?
Yes.
You would start Onana if he was fit? Okay.
I think they get 45 minutes each. I know it's a one word, but I have word vomit.
Okay.
I think they have 45 minutes each.
How does that work then? Lindelof starts and comes off at half time?
Yeah.
No. So no, because if Onana is dodgy on the fitness, you start him because you don't want to send a player on with a sub and then get injured and then use another sub taking them off. So basically, Atletico Madrid using horse placenta on Diego Costa's hamstring for that Champions League final.
Sam, did you just throw placenta in a conversation about football? Jesus.
Hey, you brought it up, kind of.
You're giving me childbirth PTSD.
Do you remember that final, though? We played 15 minutes on a dodgy hamstring and it turned out he couldn't play, so they had to take him off. You start the player in case they're injured, so you don't have to spend 2 subs with the problem. So I would go for Onana. And if after 25 minutes his calf goes or his hip goes or whatever it might be, then you bring Lindelof and you only do the 1 sub. I think Lindelof has earned the start, but I think he's a better midfielder. So if he's fit, I'd play him. Like, that's how I would look at it.
Onana's a better midfielder.
Yeah, he is better, I think, yeah.
Yeah, I think what you said there is key for me, that Lindelof's earned it. I think he was really good against Liverpool, really good against Forest in that game as well. It's mad, isn't it? Because it does feel like we've kind of stumbled onto something where we go, oh, geez, that's actually pretty good. That works. Like, yeah, if we'd have done that in February, we'd probably have qualified for the Champions League 6 weeks ago. But Villa did what they did, and yeah, I think, I don't know, that's the only one, isn't it? The rest of the team, as we said, picks itself. If Onana starts on Wednesday, I'm not going to go, oh God, Lindelof's better. And if it's the other way around, I won't think, oh, Onana's missing, that's a disaster, because we know that Lindelof's a steady pair of hands.
It's a good problem to have.
Yeah.
This is how football works, though, Dan. Like, multiple teams will have this throughout the season where you almost stumble upon this stuff by accident. And sometimes when this kind of stuff happens really late in the season, no one else, the opposition, really has the opportunity to sort of counter it or figure it out. So again, we use Man City as an example. Back end of the season where they won the treble, Pep just stuck John Stones into midfield or into a role that was marauding into midfield with sort of 15 games to go, maybe 10 games to go, and they just battered everybody. And it's not enough time for anybody to figure out how to counteract it. It can be a little bit of a superpower for a team when they stumble upon a solution like this, and it just makes everything sing. Yeah. And then suddenly opponents, they don't know how to counteract it. They don't have enough film and enough tape to really figure it out. So in that sense, it's a surprise factor for Villa that Lindelof has been able to go in and do so well. Do you think Forest were ready for that? No way.
Yeah, agreed. Yeah. If I'm going to ask each of you in one word, Lenny, firstly, for a key man, but not McGinn, because it's obvious. If we're going to win this trophy, McGinn will be crucial to that. We'll go around. Who do you think will be the player that's he was a kind of man of the match contender. He made us tick. He made us sing. He made us win. Tyler, start with you.
Watkins, Brace.
Okay. We'll save the prediction, mate. Matt Lynch.
Cash.
Whoa. We'll come back to that. Sam, Tighe.
Emi Martinez.
Oh, yeah. Lenny.
Watkins,
right. I think Watkins, I said on a previous show, stupid, obvious thing, but McGinn or Watkins will be crucial. And I was like, oh, yeah, captain and goal scorer. Of course they'll be crucial, pretty obvious points, but they make us tick, don't they? And we know all that. I'm intrigued by Matty Cash. Matt, why have you plumped for him?
I don't know. I've been doing my research as you do for this stuff and just looking at the way Freiburg play. They do utilise the wings quite a lot. And from that, Griffo is, without a doubt, their most talismanic player in terms of on the wings. And he's going to be the key challenge, I think, for us in terms of keeping him quiet, in terms of anything that's going to come forwards from Freiburg's perspective. And the way I look at that game is that Freiburg will play so compact anyway, the reality is that we need to counteract somewhat there. And for me, I think Cash is going to have to be on his game to make sure that we're in a position whereby actually we can play our football. So, yeah, for me, it's Cash. And I think you look at it a couple of times this season, Cash has stood up to the test in terms of some of the wingers that he's come up against. So I've got every faith that he will do again. But just to go a bit more left field than just say Watkins as well, to a degree there as well.
Yeah, nice. Sam, Martinez, is that his mentality and his gamesmanship, or is it were you going for a penalty shootout?
No, it's none of that, actually. I mean, first and foremost, I'm just praying to the gods that he doesn't fumble a shot into the striker's feet. That would be great. Again. It's happening. It's annoying. No, my theory here is, so I've also watched some Freiburg and looked at how aggressively they press, especially all the way up to the goalkeeper, man to man. And so Villa's ability to play through Freiburg's press, it could legitimately crush Freiburg, because they will press and they will push all the way on. If you can work your way through it, remember that the Feyenoord game when Pau Torres just played through their press, rips them to shreds. The way Emmy has been firing these long balls into Watkins in the last month or so, it's a tool that Villa have used over and over again to play over teams. If Villa can draw Freiburg onto them and Emmy can just start digging out these passes to Watkins, it will be very difficult for Freiburg to keep a handle on this, because all that space opens up. So off the back of that, you've got Rodgers dipping into space, you've got McGinn. If Emi Martinez's passing game is on point here, it could be a crucial factor in victory. So I guess in the way I'm sort of saying Watkins too, because that's where the passes are going. Yeah. But the passes have got to be right, because we've seen games in the last 2 months where the passes aren't right and the ball turns over and over and over, and it's a problem. So if those passes are on point, I think he's the key.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, nice answer. Lenny, you've gone for Watkins. Is it the obvious points that he'll run the channels and work hard and be relentless?
Yeah, I think that as well. And it's about him taking his chances. In a final, you obviously have to be ruthless. And thankfully, we're seeing a bit more of the ruthless Ollie Watkins over the past couple of months. I'm so pleased that he's come good at the right time. I think he deserves an enormous amount of respect for what he's achieved at Villa over the past few years. The consistency, you're looking at Premier League goal scorers, you've got Salah, Haaland, and then there's Ollie Watkins kind of floating below him, a little bit below him, but still below him. And all the dog's work that he does, he does the dog's work for Villa and always has done. And he makes it tick. And when Watkins plays well, Villa play well. And Watkins has played well in the past few big games, and Villa have played well. And just like Sam said about the ball sticking to him, we need that ball to stick to Watkins. And that's what was happening in recent games when we've played well. It's just glued to his chest. I don't know if he's got that stuff that Rodgers has got stuck on his. It's funny actually that we're not talking about Rodgers. I think back in the winter we would have been saying, well, it's all about Rodgers. It's the Rodgers show. But nothing against Rodgers
as well. We barely mentioned.
Yeah. He's not.
We're too obsessed with John McGinn to talk about anyone else. We should do an hour episode on each player. That'd probably work.
Yeah. The other thing I'll say is that Yuri Tielemans is well overdue a screamer.
Yeah,
he always used to get screamers for Leicester.
Yeah, I didn't score one.
Didn't he score one for Wembley at Leicester?
Yeah,
it was the winner. Yeah, it was 1-0, wasn't it, against Chelsea? Yeah. It was him.
Yeah, and so it was a Thunderbird. I won't say the word for YouTube purposes, but it was a Thunderbird. What follows? Yeah, it was a Thunderbird.
Yeah. Listen, there'll be an unlikely hero on Wednesday night. Maybe somebody pops up with a goal who doesn't normally score or doesn't normally play or anything that's football, isn't it? So it'll be a team effort, won't it, if we're going to go and win this trophy. We're going to wrap up with some score predictions. I don't know whether anyone's willing to actually put predictions down on the internet, but I'm going to ask you anyway. Ty, you said a Watkins brace, so presumably you're going for at least a 2-0 win.
3-1.
3-1.
Rodgers 2 assists. Watkins brace, up the bloody Villa.
Just get a bit of Rodgers chat in there just at the very end to be the assister. Go on, Matt Lynch.
I'd go 2-1 Villa.
2-1.
Goal
By the
scorers.
way, completely futile. No one's going to predict Villa to lose, are they? It's just what scoreline are we all going to pick? Okay, 2-1. Lenny?
I think I'll go 3-1 as well. It's a certain John McGinn goal. Ollie Watkins and a Yuri Tielemans screamer.
Oh, that'd be good, wouldn't it? That'd be great. Sam?
Yeah, I like the sound of 3-1. I really do. I think I'm gonna go with 3-1.
No clean sheet for any of us.
I mean, honestly, it would be 3-0 up and just concede in the 89th, and everyone go ooh, like that. Okay, that's kind of it seems like the most likely thing. You'll hear someone around you go, "We'll lose now. We're going to lose now.
There's enough time yet. 3-1's a precarious
3-1 in the 98th minute. We'll lose now.
Still time. Okay, just one final point, because I'm aware I've kept you all for a lot of time on Sunday night, so I appreciate it. If you could manifest a goal scorer, I'd love it if he scored Wednesday night, whether we win or not, but I'd love it if he was the one that, got the winner. Is it the obvious players?
I think it's McGuinn, isn't it? Everyone wants McGuinn.
Yeah, McGinn goal scorer and then to lift the trophy. Sam's thinking.
Yeah, I mean, no. I just assumed that we were all thinking Lamar Bogard, but apparently not. Look, I want McGinn to lift that trophy. I don't necessarily care if he scores in the final. That's where I draw the line. I really don't care how the goals go in, but McGinn, Watkins, Rodgers, I do not care. But I want McGinn lifting that trophy.
I think Buendia probably deserves it to kind of complete his redemption arc if he hasn't already, which I think he probably has. But him getting the winner in a Europa League final would probably crown him off as a hero or a legend or whatever, how far people want to go.
You know how the Chelsea fans all think Kai Havertz is a legend because he scored one goal. Otherwise he was kind of rubbish, but he scored the one goal and it was all
that's
fine.
The one that matters.
Is like if Buendia scored in the final, appreciate he was lights out in the semi, which counts for something, but if he scored in the final and it was a pivotal goal, is that enough to take him from to legend, well worth the money, perfect?
Probably. Yeah, probably. This is unprecedented for us, isn't it?
Going to score, is what you're telling me there, Sam. I think Bogart's going to score the winner based on that logic as well.
I'm fine with that.
Maybe Harvey Elliott comes out from the dark and he contributes at last. Who knows? One final point, and I will promise now this will be the last thing. Obviously, again, we're not talking about it going wrong because don't want to, but the things that we've spoken about as a podcast and as a fan base all season was when Villa get an opportunity to climb a place in the league, they bottle it. When Villa get an opportunity in a big game, they don't show up. And we've now had the Nottingham Forest semi and we've qualified for the Champions League in our own hands in style. We've lost this big game bottlers mentality, but there's now one more to go and cement that if we win Wednesday, forget all the talk about they don't know how to handle the pressure, this club. When they get in those positions, they fold. But you've got one more to get over the line. We've done it over the last few weeks. But if you don't win Wednesday, that narrative can come back, and rightly so, to be honest. But if you do win, Villa show up now. Big moments, and they're there.
Yeah, I think the Forest game was huge for that. I think that's why the Forest game was such a outpouring of emotion and why everyone was so up for it, because I think sometimes there are those games where it's like, okay, let's see it. I said earlier in the season, sometimes you need to look over the precipice to find out how much you want it. And Villa had that. And I think after that first leg, I think not just Villa, everyone in that crowd said, well, what do you want? Do you want to win it or do you want to not win it? Come on, let's see what you got. And we showed what we've got. It's a shame it's not at Villa Park, but I feel like there are certain times for teams when they get over that certain hump. And I feel like that Forest game was getting over the hump. And I think the Liverpool game showed that. I don't think it wasn't tense at all. I think it was just Villa said, we can do this. We can beat these. We're good. Forget all that. Let's just get it done. And they did. And that filled me with so much confidence. And I feel like on Wednesday, I feel like that's the mentality they're going to go into that game with. I don't think it's going to be like, oh, this is our big chance. I feel like they're going to go in and say, come on, let's do it.
Yeah, and I'm with you.
That's what I think.
Any final closing moments? Go on then, everyone. A closing statement from each of you. Lenny, you've done yours. I've done mine. Sam, to end the show for us.
You've made me nervous. Thanks.
Have I? Oh, my apologies.
No, I'd say the whole podcast has made me nervous. I wasn't thinking about it all. And now I'm picturing it all. I'm picturing McGinn sliding a finish home. I'm picturing that long pass into Watkins and him running the channel. And that's how it gets you. So, look, last 2 weeks, ever since getting the train back from that Forest game on the Friday morning, I was listening to your wrap up Dan was texting you saying that vibe, you got the vibe perfectly, like just rolling in that moment, never really wanted to let it go. Did not sleep properly on Friday night because did not really want to let that Liverpool moment go, having qualified for the Champions League, you know, watching the lap of honour and Unai Emery's speech, you know, we're going to Istanbul, like genuinely like goosebumps, incredible. And I just think that these last few weeks and these moments that we are living right now, we will look back on in the years to come and think these were some of the best moments that we've ever experienced as Aston Villa fans. It's an incredible position to be in. And for everyone listening, watching, going to Istanbul, looking forward to the final, just keep that front and center. Honestly, just like remember like how good this is, how good this situation is, how lucky we are to be in this position. Because I'll be thinking about that a lot, and we have to make the most of it, and we have to really like revel in it, because it will flash by. Thursday morning, it will flash by.
Yeah. I know, we said the other day, I think the episode we did on Thursday or Friday, saying a week from now it'll all be over. Like it'll be done.
Yeah.
We'll know how this story ends one way or the other, which is quite scary.
You know the US Office meme, Andy Bernard, where he says, "I wish there was a way to know you're in the good old times before they're over."
Yeah.
Think about that. Like I think we're in the good old times right now. That's not to say like it's all going to crumble next year. I'm just saying like these are the moments we live for. Just like relish it.
Yeah. Matt Lynch, we talk about visualisation. We'll be wearing that kit that you're wearing, so I'm visualising the kit as well. Close us out, mate.
My mind was wandering to an open top bus tour, to be honest, but I'm too far ahead at that point. So I've gone way too far ahead.
Wednesday.
Yeah. No, I think my closing statement is look at the players, the way they reacted at the end of the game against Nottingham Forest at home and Liverpool. Those players are ready for this moment, because I think I remarked at the time that those players a few years ago would have probably lost their minds at full time out of the pure joy of reaching the final. But you hear them talk, you hear and look at the way that they reacted after that Forest game, after the Liverpool game. They're ready for these moments, and they are. It's a cliche to say, I mean, business, but they don't look like a team that's there just for a big day out anymore.
Just happy to be there, kind of thing.
Yeah, they look like they belong at this point now, and that's a big mentality shift from a few years ago, where I think it probably was that thing of, oh, nice big day out, and like over the moon we're here, and sort of basically just controlling the levels that they're at. And I think that they're at that level now where they know they belong in that final, and they know they deserve to be there. And I think that we'll handle the final in the exact same way as well, which is why there's probably so much confidence from me in that sense as well.
Yeah, nice. Ty?
You've all pretty much covered most things. Sam Tighe, imposter Sam, I don't know. Sam Tighe. You pretty much took the words out of my mouth. You know, we are in the unknown lands. We're in a place that most of us, you know, the younger generation, we haven't seen this or felt this. So embrace every single feeling, every nervous, I need to pop to the loo, you name it, whatever you need to do. You can't eat, you can't sleep, it's fine. Embrace it, soak it in. What's the point in being human if you can't feel all these emotions? That's what we're here for, right? So, you know, life isn't just about feeling the good, it's about feeling the nerves and feeling the downs. And we've been through it all. You know, we've been a season ticket holder in the year we got relegated. You know, I was there, I did it. It was a heartache, and I would go through every single 90 minutes since then again to be where we are right now. So soak it all in, be human, be scared, be vulnerable, cry, laugh, drink, whatever you need to do. Just enjoy it with your people, man, and up the Villa.
Yeah, lovely words from everybody. Really enjoyed that, gents. Thank you very much for sharing over an hour of your time on a Sunday night. For when this goes out on Tuesday, everyone will be 2 days closer to the final than we are now. So everything we've said will be kind of heightened again, I'm sure. But yeah, really enjoyed it. Thanks to Sam Tighe, Bracey, Matt Lynch, and Sam Lenny Leonard. Appreciate it massively. Enjoy Wednesday. Win or lose, if you go in, to everybody, go and enjoy the moment. But if we do it, it's absolutely massive, and then massive party at the Etihad and Birmingham Town Hall, City Centre, open top bus parade, etc. At some point after that. So thank you very much for watching or listening to this episode of the Villa Social on the Claret and Blue podcast, and we'll be back tomorrow with our Istanbul coverage. Wow, mad. Brilliant. Thank you very much, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.